Okay, folks, so when I say ready to rock, you say ready to roll, all right? So ready to rock, ready to roll. Ready to rock, ready to roll. Ready to rock, ready to roll. How's it going, folks? This is Pat from Asphalt Green's Recess Enhancement Program here with another instructional video, this time for our game Rock, Paper, Scissors, Rumble, or RPS Rumble as we like to call it, all right? So before we get into the game, we of course always want to start off with our safety check. So as always, making sure that us and our students are always washing our hands for 20 seconds both before and after we play any game. We again always want to make sure that students are keeping their hands away from their face, and we always want to make sure that we're keeping our hands away from our face as well. If anybody ever has to sneeze or cough, we want to make sure that we're just dabbing into the elbow so as not to send any droplets anywhere else. And of course, we always want to make sure that everyone is 6 feet apart from one another so that everyone is properly social distanced, okay? Then, once everyone's finished with their safety check and you're ready to go, I just need you to give me 2 claps, and let's get started. Those claps show me that everybody's ready, which means that we can hop into RPS Rumble. And wait, what's the name of the game? It's RPS Rumble, of course, folks. It's a great game to play with students in 3rd grade up through 8th grade or within that age range and ability level. What's great about this game is that it can be played anywhere, in any space whatsoever. That could be the hallway, it could be the playground, it could be an auditorium, it could be a classroom, wherever you can really play it. And so long as students can stand 6 feet apart from one another and face you, you're good to go. What's great about this, as you can gather from that, is that the game is completely safe, right? Everyone can stand 6 feet away from one another or sit 6 feet away from one another, so everyone will be properly social distanced throughout, and there's no equipment necessary unless you want to throw down cones or tape for a line or circle, or if you want to designate boundaries. Other than that, no equipment needed, so no one needs to share anything. And of course, equally as important as safety, and as with all of our rep games, it is super, super fun. All right, so let's get into the details of it. And as always, we like to rep it out when we do get into the details. So we'll start with ready. So how do we get ready for RPS Rumble? Well, the first thing that we want to do, of course, is map out our play space. Like I said, the game can be played anywhere, just so long as students can stand 6 feet away from one another and face you, okay? So that could be a circle, it could be a line if you're out on a playground and everyone's facing you in one straight line. It could be multiple lines and with people standing 6 feet behind each other in that. Just so long as everyone can face you and can stay 6 feet apart, you'll be good to go. So once you find that area, you can map out your play space, designate where you want to play, designate the boundaries for that play space. You'll be good to go. Then, as always, we want to make sure that we are removing any items within that play space that might pose a safety risk and thinking about how we might work around items that can't be moved. There won't be too much moving around or moving about in this game, so you won't necessarily need to worry about that. But again, always good to do a safety sweep. And then as well, what we'll want to do is lay out any equipment that we might need. So again, if you're designating boundaries, you can lay down cones or tape, whatever you might need, but you won't need any other extra equipment other than that. And then once you've decided, hey, the play space is good to go, I'm ready to start this game, you can gather up all of your students by using an attention grabber, like the one that I used at the beginning of the video, and you can get everyone to stand and gather up 6 feet apart from one another. So how about we give that a go with ready to rock, ready to roll, ready to rock, ready to roll, ready to rock. Looks like everyone's ready to roll, so let's hop into explaining the game. So as always, folks, whenever we want to explain a game to students, we want to make sure that we're using a loud and clear voice so all students can hear and understand us. And while we're going through the instructions, we always want to be asking students specific questions about those instructions just to check and make sure that they're understanding and that we're also clarifying things for them if we weren't so clear on the first go around, right? So some of the questions that we would suggest you ask students is, what do you do if you are successful against the rumbler? And what do you do if you're not successful against the rumbler? Okay? And I'm sure you're wondering what a rumbler is, and that will make more sense as we go through the instructions of the game. So I'll explain those instructions, and you can follow along on your copy of the instructions, whether it's online or in your own printed out PDF version of it, okay? So, as it states in your instructions, the first thing that you want to do when you want to play RPS Rumble is to have students line up standing 6 feet apart from one another, okay? And we've already done that by using our attention grabber and lining everybody up, right? But again, dependent on the space, maybe you can't form a line where everyone's standing, right next to each other or 6 feet apart from one another, but next to each other. So you might have to form a circle. Or you can, if you're in a hallway, say, you might have lines of students, right? Just so long as everybody is 6 feet apart from one another, and just so long as they can see you, the rumbler, you're good to go, okay? Because, as I mentioned there, you are going to be the rumbler. And what that means in RPS Rumble is that you, as the rumbler, will be facing off against all of the students in rock, paper, scissors matches, okay? And so before you get into anything about that, you can go over the rules of rock, paper, scissors with your students, reminding them that, rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, and paper beats rock, okay? And then you can explain to them that whatever chant that you want to go to get the game going, I and everyone at Rep tends to go with rock, paper, scissors says go. And then you put out whether you rock, paper, scissors, whatever it might be. So just making sure everyone's on the same page with that, right? So that everyone can play you properly. So once you've gone over the rules of rock, paper, scissors, you've got your chant down so everyone's on the same page of when to throw out the rock, the paper, or the scissors, you can then explain to the students that as the rumbler, you will be facing all of them in each round, okay? So whenever you as the rumbler finishes the chant and throws up, say, a rock, every student will have to throw up either a rock, paper, or scissors and try and beat you as the rumbler, okay? So it's all of them versus the rumbler at all times, okay? So if a student is successful, right? So you throw up rock and they throw up a paper, they will remain standing, okay? If a student draws with you, so you throw up a rock and they also throw up a rock, they will remain standing. But if a student is unsuccessful in their attempt against you, say you throw up a rock and they throw up a scissors, they are going to take a seat, okay? And this game will continue until there's one student standing against the rumbler, okay? And once there is only one student standing, what that means is that they become the new rumbler and face off against all of their classmates and you as the coach, okay? So those are our instructions for RPS Rumble. So how about we talk now a little bit about how we can play the game so that students are abiding by the rules in those instructions and how we can play it so that students stay engaged in the game, okay? So in order to do that, I think we need to gather up though. So when I say ready to rock, you say ready to roll. So ready to rock, ready to roll, ready to rock, ready to roll, ready to rock, ready to roll. And thank you guys. Let's gather up and stand 6 feet apart from one another, okay? So, first tip that we have for you is something we've already mentioned. Make sure that everyone understands the rules to rock, paper, scissors, okay? It's always worthwhile to go over those rules. There might be a student who doesn't know rock, paper, scissors, okay? It's a very commonplace game, but it could be the case. And so you want to introduce them to the game, okay? Don't just assume. What you also want to do is make sure that everyone's on the same page on how to play, right? Just because people have different chants, they have different ways of throwing out, the rock, the paper, or the scissors. So you just want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Once you've done that, the game will be smoother, both for the students and for you, which means that the game will be way, way more fun, okay? You also want to remind students that they're only playing rock, paper, scissors against the rumbler, okay? So there won't be any of these side games where people are turning and playing against their friends during the game. They'll only be facing the rumbler, okay? And with that in mind, if say a student is unsuccessful against the rumbler and they have to sit down, that's okay. They can keep playing against the rumbler. All that it means is that they won't get the chance to be the rumbler when the next round comes, but they'll still be able to play the game, okay? And another way to keep students who have been unsuccessful engaged is to add on some consequences to being unsuccessful in their attempt against the rumbler, right? It's always great to get students active and get them moving, and that's what we want to do, and it's also a lot of fun. So when a student is unsuccessful, maybe they do 5 jumping jacks, maybe they do 5 squats, 5 burpees, 5 lunges, whatever it might be. Movement is always great because it gets them active, and it also lets them have fun. So with that brings us to the end of the rep model, which then brings us to the end of our instructional video. So before we head on off, I think we need to gather up one more time. So when I say ready to rock, you say ready to roll, ready to rock, ready to roll, ready to rock, ready to roll, ready to rock, ready to roll. And I just want to thank you guys for tuning in for another instructional video for RPS Rumble. I hope you found it fun, hope you found it useful, and I hope you have a great time playing with your students, all right? Stay tuned for more instructional videos coming from us here at Asphalt Green, and I hope you have a great day.